Welcome, everybody, to the Third Period Podcast, the best and only NBHL podcast. I am your host, Darren Bassman-Chan, and with me this week is the commish, Sean Guerrero. Sean, thanks for being here.
A regular now.
Yes, I would say semi-regular at least. You're part of the rotating crew.
It's true.
Okay. We're kind of in our second go-around now. We went through the entire league once, which was a feat in and of itself.
Yeah.
And here we go. Now we're going round two. This week, we're going to be looking at the B-League and the D-League.
Yeah.
Two pretty relevant leagues, I think, at this stage of the season. Some interesting stuff going on.
We're down to the wire right now, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a very interesting time. Unfortunately, we won't be able to cycle back around at the end. So
doesn't look like it, no.
This is going to be it. So we're going to try and get all the predictions out and we're going to try and make you go in depth on what you think is going to happen here. Really put your feet to the fire.
Yep.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right. You can reach me at NBHL Media. You can reach Sean at NBHL_official. So please do that. We've been getting a lot of feedback over the past few weeks. We appreciate it. Keep it coming. I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, no, and I mean now's the time to watch, at least in the short term, the NBHL_official, because we tweet the scores as it happens. So if a playoff position matters to your team, and you want to know potentially the night of, right? Because when games finish, we send up schedules as quickly as possible. So it's important that guys stay on the ball.
I think I already saw somebody tweeting the NBHL officials. We need updates.
I saw that too. I'm like, I don't know what he needs yet. So we'll get to Zach for sure.
All right, so let's jump into the B League here.
Yeah.
Taking a look at it right now, we've got GK Light at the top, but they're tied with Barracudas at 16 points each. We've got Sharpshooters at 10 points, Team Greece at 10. Fuel at 9 points, and VIPs at 8. Sean, first of all, before we go any further, what is the playoff breakdown? How many teams make it?
The top 5 make it.
Top 5 of 6.
Yeah.
So right now, sitting on the outside looking in is the VIPs.
That's my team.
Yeah, and one game played less than Fuel.
Yeah, but Fuel has now. This is just like we dated. Fuel has just played their game and they won.
Okay, so now they're at 11 points.
Exactly. And Sharpshooters also are in a good. I think they won as well.
Okay.
So it's really between Team Greece now and VIPs.
All right. So let's come back to that. Let's cycle back around to that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off at the top.
Yes.
There are clearly two teams that are better than the rest, it seems like, so far. We've got GK Light and Barracudas, currently the only teams above 500.
Yep.
And sporting identical 7-3-2 records.
Yes. Two different teams.
So talk to me a bit about them. We've obviously been through these teams before, but now that the season has developed, what more do we know than we didn't maybe when we first came around?
Well, basically, GK Light realized their expectations set upon them. I mean, they have some of the best players, not only in the league, but in the country on this roster. They've really done a fantastic job of managing their cap. And most often, I'll say in general, if you're going to try to manage a cap, you're better off to spread out the wealth. And in a 15-point league, you want sprinkles of 2 3s and one guy who's a 4 who's going to generate some offense. They've got like 3 guys at 5, 5, and 4 points. Okay. And they're just dominating. When those 3 are on, with some good point, like some solid ones there on defense supporting the power play, these guys are unstoppable. I played against them, and when they're on fire, when they decide to compete, there's no chance. And it reflects in their goals differential. They've got 52 goals for, the most in the league by a wide margin, and a goal differential of 19. They're just too fast, too quick to score. They can pick corners on the best goalies in the league. They're just, even though they have the same points as Barracudas, they're the heavy favorites between the two of them for sure. They're just too offensively powerful.
So then, how can a team like Barracudas or any other team beat them then?
You have to play a game you're not going to have fun playing. Which is, you've got to play old school New Jersey Devils kind of hockey, trap, 4 guys back, 1 guy just putting a little pressure, hoping to capitalize on a giveaway if they make one, or a transition game, but you have to be so defensively minded, which is not fun. Like, guys like to go out, they like to pass around, try to do a stretch pass. You can't. You really have to keep these guys to the outside, and you got to watch for your partner. You can't just worry about your guy, because if your defensive partner, if your winger gets beat, because they can make a move, they can beat you one-on-one. You got to be ready not only to manage your target, but compensate for your partners if something happens. It's a really tough game to play. Your head's always on a swivel, but it can be done. It's just not fun. And you got to do it twice against these guys. You got to, this is a team who's going to play in the semifinals pretty much right off the bat. And you're just gonna take 2 games to beat them. It's not going to be easy to do.
That being said, they have lost 3 games and tied twice. Yeah. So what does that tell us? I mean,
it could be if they're missing one of their big guns.
Yeah,
it definitely opens up.
And you mentioned, I'm interested by that because you're saying if their mind is on the game. But I mean, so is that an issue with these guys? Is it something that sometimes their focus might wax and wane, or is that more of a regular season problem rather than a playoff one?
It's a regular season problem versus a playoff problem. These guys, when they start going up 3-4-1, they tend to, they're like the most respectful players I've ever played against. It's Yannick Labonte, Kevin Kuzmarski, and Simon Leclerc. And they've used Matt David depending on who's missing or not. But when they score their 5th goal again soon, it's 5-1. They're not banging their sticks on the boards or snapping goals, but there's just such an ease and fluidity to their game that you're looking at it a bit, and I'm sweating buckets. I'm like getting the asthma pump out, and they're not going 100%. So that's the most frustrating thing against this team is that the regular season they can beat you. Maybe they played against Barracudas who had their best game and they beat theirs, at maybe a compromised state where missing a guy or 2. But if all their big guns are there and they're all firing on cylinders, I don't know who's going to be able to take them down.
All right, well, let's look at probably the top contender to do so, the Barracudas, at the same amount of points. You spoke a lot about how strong GK Light is, but tell me what Barracudas do well, what they've done well this season.
Yeah, and on a foreshadow, I don't think Barracudas are the biggest threat to GK Light.
I figured that's where you were headed, but let's talk about Barracudas.
We'll get to Barracudas. Barracudas are a interesting line. They are, how do I put it? They have one very strong line and one average line. And how they manage those lines, I think if they make it to the finals against GK Light, they are going to have to manage their bench like at a professional level. They've got to have their top guns, Pat O'Neill, Jimmy Surwa, Alex Haddad against the Yannick Labontes, the Kevin Kuzmarskis, and the Simon Leclercs. They're going to have to make those matchups because they're second string, not bad hockey players by any stretch of the imagination. They're very good. Dave Doucette, Darren Hill, these guys can play. But against GK's top line, they're going to get smoked. Just they're younger, faster. So if they do that match game well, they could compete. They have a good defensive core. Their goaltender's playing really well. Sunny Patel is having a great season. So they have the pieces, but again, it's a game, like I said earlier, every team's going to have to play a different style against GK Light to win. For these guys, it's really the line matching strategy.
I would like to point one thing out. Of the GK Light's 3 losses, 2 of them
against Barracudas.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Again, whether they played against them when it matters, for lack of a better word, because Barracudas play every game very hard. Their captain, Dave Goldfarb, is one of the most intense competitors we have in the league, and that permeates throughout the team in the locker room and whatnot. So I'm not surprised by that fact.
But you're expecting a different outcome if they were to meet again in the playoffs.
Exactly. The GK Light's biggest weakness that Barracudas can expose because they have Jimmy, Pat, and Alex is defense. They have one guy who's phenomenal. I think he plays for Team Haiti. He's ridiculous. One of our fastest players beat one of their defensemen, and this guy came back from like the ringette line and caught up to him. It was insane. But they do have some defensemen who are not bad hockey players again, but you're playing in the B, they're weaker than the norm, if you will. And if they could get exposed, that's how you beat GK Light. And Barracudas have the line that can do it.
Yeah.
So
it's matchups, like you're saying.
It's pure matchups. It's a matchup game, 100%. It will be very interesting to watch.
All right. Well, we spoke 2 of the 3 losses for GK Light were against Barracudas. The third was against the Sharpshooters. So let's talk about them quickly, and then we'll move on to the final playoff spot here as things are breaking down. So
no, Sharpshooters are.
First of all, is that the team, or is there another team that you're looking at as the
Team Greece
best threat? You think it's Team Greece? Okay, we'll come back to that, but let's talk about the Sharpshooters quickly.
Sharpshooters, greatly managed team by Nikhil Ragnathan. I butchered that for sure. Sorry, Nick. But I don't know. We played them when my team was in last place, and we played them last week, and we didn't give them like a lesson. We gave them a university degree. Like we just absolutely took them to the court and just annihilated them. They were not sharp. They were not crispy. And I think that you can't be at that state this late in the season. You need to be smooth. You need to have the connecting passes. They have the heart. They have the hustle. They're just missing that skill level that the top teams possess. I think they're a strong B team, but I just don't think they have that scoring touch, that elite level of player that can make them really compete with these other two teams. I think that's what they're missing, unfortunately.
All right, so let's go to your big threat then.
Yes.
For it to pull off the upset, Team Greece.
100% Team Greece. Arguably one of the best goalies in the league, John Vredis, backstopping that team. He's been up and down this season. Sometimes he's having great games. Sometimes he's having some off ones. Not against my team, unfortunately, but I've seen it. I've heard rumors.
Yes.
But this team was one that we were debating, like A or B.
Okay.
And as a compromise, we spoke to the captain, George Villamanos, who you know.
Not yet, but
not yet.
Like
You hope to. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. Hot commodity at 0.5 points, that's for sure.
Don't ruin it.
His phone's going to go crazy now.
Yeah.
They played 4A teams.
Yeah.
With their B team, and they played on their off nights. So they had to play on Mondays or Sunday, so they didn't necessarily have all
maybe not
guys.
The full roster. Yeah,
so, exactly. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure if we look at some of their losses, I bet you a good chunk of them, if not all of them, have been against A teams. So if they play Fuel VIP sharpshooters, one more time each, they could easily be at eight wins.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a misconception that they're 4-6-2 because of these A matches that they had to face.
Okay,
and that's why I think this team is no one wants to play them in the first round. It's really going to be unfortunate for the souls who have to play them if they bring all their bodies. Yeah, and playoff times, that's when guys become more available. When it starts to count.
Shockingly.
Yes. And that's why I think they're really the sleeper pick for.
Ironically, those are the games that you don't pay for. Just putting that out there.
Exactly,
those are technically the free ones.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So that's why I think Team Greece really, really. I mean, these guys have competed at world level. So they've been in really, really tough competition, really good matches. I think they're a strong pick for me in this league.
All right, and then rounding it out, so let's talk about this. So you're saying the final spot basically is coming down to probably the VIPs in Team Greece, but you're very high on Team Greece.
Oh, I'm very high on Team Greece. I mean, VIPs have to beat sharpshooters basically by by 4 goals at least this Sunday. The last time we beat them, I believe, is a differential of 3. I'd have to double check. But like I said, they had their worst game, and we probably had one of our best.
Okay.
So hopefully they repeat that. But the likelihood, at the very least, they're going to take offense to what we did to them last time, and they're going to come out much harder. And we'll see what they bring. But we're on an uphill battle to beat sharpshooters by a goal differential of 4 to make it in. So it doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good.
So
that's a very confident player there.
Yeah, well, we're going to do our best, but I'm glad we're playing them and not GK Light for example. Hopes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it easier, that's for sure.
Okay, so then let's go. Then it seems like you're basically thinking that it's going to be GK Light, Barracudas, Sharpshooters, Team Greece, and Fuel.
Yeah.
If that's the case, how does it break down in the playoffs?
Well, basically, 4 plays 5 in a 1-game quarterfinal, and then you go straight to the semis, where the first place team, GK Light, most likely, again, depending what happens in the last week here, does against. They play against
whoever the lowest
the winner is of that, and then 2 plays 3.
All right, so it's looking possible that it would be Barracudas Sharpshooters in that round,
which is a great matchup for Barracudas. That's what Barracudas are really hoping for. You really don't want to find yourself playing Team Greece or Fuel in the first round. I'll take Sharpshooters over either of those teams right now.
All right, and then so it would be GK Light probably against winner of Team Greece and Fuel as it stands right now.
Well, right now Fuel's at 11 points because they won this week. So they're sitting right now technically in third, but yes, if sharpshooters beat us as expected, then they fall back into that.
That's it. Well, anyways, it's very hard to predict.
But let's just say as it stands now, Team Greece Fuel, crappy matchup for both of these guys. Fuel has added Pat Farinelli seemingly to the roster. They got him to qualify, which is a huge addition for them. Again, another player who unassuming, a bit during the season, but when he wants to win, this guy played in Italy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's fantastic. His shot's unbelievable. Makes a big difference for that team. So it's unfortunate if Team Greece has to play Fuel in the first round. I think that's unfair for both of those guys for one of them to be eliminated at that stage, but it could be.
So then it's hard for us to break down individual playoff matchups because we're not there yet. But give me a final. I guess final 4 is kind of reductive. We can kind of guess who the final 4 is. We're just eliminating one team at that point. But give me a final 2.
Final 2, GK Light. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I don't see anybody.
You don't see an upset happening.
I don't see any upset happening, especially after the first round. Again, if Team Greece unfortunately gets caught in that quarterfinal game, perhaps, but I don't suspect. I would like to see a GK Light Team Greece final. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Again, goaltending being a big factor there. Both, John's an elite goalie. GK Light's goalie, definitely not the same caliber. He's having a great season, but not at the same level. So how are the strengths and weaknesses of these teams? Team Greece, almost like the soccer team, very defensively, doesn't score many goals, but run like crazy, versus a highly offensive powerhouse with a weaker back end.
Always a very exciting matchup.
Well, that's it, right? There's something that something's going to give, right? Yeah. And that's what I love to see. And I think both teams can play to their strengths. So we have a great matchup. Whereas if it's either Sharpshooters or Barracudas, they've got to play a completely different game in order to knock off GK Light.
So if that is your prediction, who do you see winning, and in how many games? I'm throwing you a curveball here, and give me an MVP.
Oof. If I have to be, I know who I want to win. I mean, everyone likes to see the powerhouse get knocked off, but I don't see anyone knocking off GK Light.
I personally tend to think that when it's a matchup of great offense versus great defense in this league, in NBHL, I often see the great offense winning.
It seems to be the case.
It's not the case in most sports, but in this type of sport, I feel like it seems to be that offense, the ability to put the ball in the net is kind of more at a premium than playing solid defense.
It is, because if you don't score often, trying to get that 1 or 2 goals
is very hard.
It's very hard
unless you get a lucky bounce or it bounces in off somebody, or the goalie's having an off night.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. In this league, offense somehow pays. A terrible defense.
Different story.
But an average defense will always succumb to an average offense.
I just feel like I remember years ago, Cray America, a team I play on in the summers, played in the B, and we were a little bit over our head, but I mean, it was a different caliber. It also wasn't as strong as it probably is right now, but I remember basically we were trying to play mistake free, but you were playing so mistake free that we weren't even able to conceive of scoring. We had one guy who was good at scoring, Mark Costandy, and if it wasn't him, then it might not happen. But we managed to make it to the playoffs, and we managed to take it far in that first round. But it runs out. You can't go any further than that.
No.
So I would tend in that direction. So then, if GK Light is winning, it's as usual, best of 3 series, I presume.
In this case, it's the first of 3 points.
First
3 points, yeah. So it's basically you play 2 games.
Yeah.
And if you win one and you tie the second game, you've won the championship.
Okay, yeah. The traditional way.
Sorry,
exactly. My comment was not the correct one. So the usual way.
The usual, yeah.
So how would it be winning? Give me a prediction for each game. I'm pushing you to go out there because it's the last time we're talking about these leagues.
Look, I mean, GK is scoring so much. I think they're winning both games.
Woo!
Yeah. I just don't see. I think what happens when you get a goal scored against you by GK, and we played them when we held them in the first period relatively decently. Then they scored. Then they scored their second goal. It's 2-0 now. Then we scored 2-1. Then it was 3-1, and then you have to press. Your whole defensive system, the way to beat these guys, has to break down because you're not going to score if you're playing defense. And then that's when they absolutely just turned on the floodgates. They just pass, breakaway, score. We're like, okay, and 4-1, 5-1. It just unraveled after that. So I just think they all they need is that 2-goal lead. You start to peel away from your system, and then you're done. And that's the issue with this team. That's why I think they're going to win both games. I think they're going to go win lossless. They're going to win every game.
Okay. So then, give me an MVP for if that does happen. Who's the MVP going to be?
You know what? The popular pick would be Yannick Labonte, and without a doubt, this guy is a world class player. He deserves every accolade that comes towards him. But I was watching Kevin Kuzmarski. He played against me in the last game, and this guy was just on fire. A phenomenal player, and what's the most devastating about him is his shooting ability is just unparalleled. He's picking corners on one-timers, like running full speed to a pass that he's not even like. He's running towards it. It's just unreal. And snapshots, top corner. His ability to pick those corners against, again, good goalies makes him very, very difficult to stop. A defenseman, if you're not within, kissing distance, like you're not stopping him. You give him even a stick length, he's getting that ball off so quickly that you become a screen rather than an impediment to his goal, which is scoring. And that's why he was just really, really on fire. He looks healthy. He looks in shape. He always has been. Like really now, he looks like he's seems like he has something to prove. I don't know what's going on in the world that maybe Kevin's he got snubbed somewhere, but he seems like to be a man on a mission. I had the pleasure of playing with him on VIPs, ironically, years ago, and he was like 19 or 20 at the time, and he was phenomenal. And he's just continued to mature as a ball hockey player, and he's awesome to see. Some of the kids in the youth league speak about him because they know about him, his success in different tournaments and whatnot. So, and they're dying to meet him because of his success.
He's a hero. Maybe they can line up before the game, and he can sign autographs outside the Club West Island.
You know what I mean? I mentioned to him, he thought it was a cool idea. I was like, look, you won't believe it. And so I think he's going to have a great playoff.
All right. If Team Greece pulls off the upset in your mind, who would be their MVP?
John Vredis. They need John to have a superb playoff run in order to win.
All right.
And that'll be the guy.
Okay. Final thoughts on the B League before we jump down to the D.
You know what? The picture has unfolded, but at no point during the season, potentially maybe GK Light, did we ever feel out of it. It was a really, really balanced the game. I think we were the team that gave Fuel the legs they needed to make that final playoff push. They beat us 7-3. They went in with confidence. They had like a great run. They're 4-1-1 or something like that in their last 6 games, and we haven't had that success. That's really with the tail of the tape. But throughout the entire season, up to our last game, we were in it. There's 4 teams battling out like 8, 9, 10 points. That's insane.
Yeah.
And no one feels like Barracudas deserve to be that high. Like, we all think we could beat them. So it was just a phenomenal league. I do think GK Light's the favorites, but the rest of them are going to be battling to the grind to make a stand.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the way it breaks down. I'd like to, obviously, I like to see upsets. You like to see upsets? Yeah,
I love to see an upset.
So, here. I mean, we'll see how it breaks down.
GK has so many of my T-shirts.
It's not fair. Share a little.
Exactly.
All right, let's move down to the D League then.
Yeah.
Again, a 6-team league. I presume same type of playoff format. Top 5 and 6.
Top 5 make it. Exactly.
All right, so we've got. Okay, here we go again. Celerits or as I like to call them, Skelerates. Trailer Park Boys, the Lads, the Shockers, AJs, and Spruce Moose. So we've got again same type of thing. Top 2 teams are tied, 19 points each at the top. Then the Lads at 12, the Shockers at 10, AJs at 8, and Spruce Moose far behind at 4.
Yeah, another one of my teams.
Yes,
both of my teams.
How's that view from down there? Yeah, exactly. No one can claim he's rigging things to make his teams better. No,
exactly.
Okay, so. At this point, there's one game left to be played for most of these teams.
Yes.
So Spruce Moose are out of it.
Yep, we have no hope.
So the 5 teams are
we'll
set.
Be at our next game, Chris, I promise.
The 5 teams are set. Now the question is who's playing who.
Yep.
But let's go through these teams a little bit quickly. So again, let's talk about the top 2 here.
Yes.
Is this a closer matchup than what we were talking about in the B League?
100%.
Okay, so talk to me about Celerits and Trailer Park Boys.
Both 2 phenomenal teams. Spruce Moose at one point had hope of making the playoffs, but our 2 of our last 3 games were against Celerits. So
that was the end of that.
That was the end of that, and we gave them a good run. In our first matchup, we lost 3-2 to them, but they are like really strong. They're a fully packaged team. They play physical. Their goaltender had when he's on fire, and they really can. Score. I was surprised because I would say there's not any standout name on that team. I mean, they do have the leading scorer in the league, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's one of the it's Oliver Bedard. And that doesn't surprise me. And then Jean-Philippe Derry is also very, very good. So they do have very good players, but these are not like household names, for lack of a better word, in the league, and they've just demonstrated that over the years they've gotten better and better. They were in 5 and 4-point leagues, and they continue to improve, and now they find themselves the top of a very competitive D League. And when talking to the captain, Norm was saying that they're ready for the challenge of the B League. So this is a team, win or lose here, they're looking forward to the next challenge.
That's always good to see.
And that's it. So they got their sights set on getting better, and I love seeing that. They're not fun to play against because they're exhausting. They really just don't stop. They have some great passing plays. Again, I can't look at that roster and go, "Oh, this guy's super flashy." It's collectively they're just very, very good as a unit. I mean, their goals for are 51. We've contributed to that. They've definitely had their field day with us, and other teams, unfortunately, we managed to pull better games against them. But I expect them to have a really, really good run in the playoffs.
Now, they have 2 losses on the season based on what we have here. And actually, I was looking because obviously the next closest team is the Trailer Park Boys, and I was looking at their matchups.
They had some great matchups. I think the last game was 2-1.
So the first game they played against them, they beat the Trailer Park Boys 3-2. The second game they played against them, they lost against the Trailer Park Boys 3-2. And the last one, the Trailer Park Boys took as well 3-1.
Okay.
So Trailer Park Boys do have the season edge on them. Again, is this a situation like in the B where you consider that maybe that might reverse itself in the playoffs, or do you think the Trailer Park Boys are the better team?
I think Trailer Park Boys are the better team.
Okay.
100%. Although, I have deep respect for Celeritz. Trailer Park Boys have some players with that talent level, which is just above and beyond anyone on Celeritz seems to have right now. And David Como comes to mind right off the bat, leading the team in scoring and points. They got Eric Larson, one of the hardest shots in the entire league, and Ryan Atkinson, their goalie, is having one absolute monster of a season. So, and then they got a bunch of other guys. I can name the whole team, but it's a bit redundant at this point. So sorry for guys if I don't mention you, but. When I play them, there's just a finesse to their game that Celeritz don't have. So it's really like finesse against grind when these teams hopefully do meet in the final, because I think that would be the best matchup to have. It'd be a great test for both teams. Then they would have earned it, really and truly. But it's a completely different style. And I find Trailer Park Boys just have that scoring ability. Even though they score less goals, they just have such a fluid component to their game, and with a guy like David, again, Celeritz can maybe get him off his game, but he has a bit of a temper. So if you do chip at him a bit and derail him, it could happen. But if he doesn't, if he finds he's hitting his mark, good luck stopping him.
So, of those two teams, your pick is the Trailer Park Boys.
I think Trailer Park Boys
you think they're the better team?
I think they're the better team. I think Celeritz have one or two, when playing against them, they have a couple of guys that could cost them on defense. They're guys who, again, all of them play hard, but dump it up the middle in front of the net when they're behind.
Yeah, little mistakes, but that at this level can cost you.
That can cost you.
You can get away with that.
When I pick up the ball in the middle of the net, which happened, I missed the net. But you give it to a guy like David or Larson, they're burying that thing. So that's where they have to be careful. But that will be no lack of intensity if they face off. It'll be nuts.
All right, and then moving into kind of the middle part. The last 3 teams are a lot closer. We've got the Lads, the Shockers, and the AJs. Yeah. So let's look at this group of teams and kind of pull it apart here. Unpack it. Who is the best team from those 3? Put aside the numbers, obviously, since technically the Lads are obviously the better team. But
AJs are sneaky. I would say could be AJs. I don't know if they've qualified Kuskuna. I don't know if he's played Joey Kuskuna. Yeah, they did. Okay, so that's Joey. That's not the. I think it's Joey. Very, very good player. Carlo Tadeo's having a sick year, so I think AJs again have that talent that could really transcend. Like their record, if you will. The goaltending has been a bit of an issue for them. They haven't had a great season goaltending wise. Nothing against David Garofano, but in the playoffs that could kill you. So hopefully they pull together. For them, if things stay as it is, it's perfect for them. They want to play Shockers in the first round. They do not want to have to play the Lads. So I think if they get that win, or if they can get that win under their belts, I think it's a good matchup for both of them. It's very balanced. They could go on and ride some momentum and do some damage. They bring a lot of bodies when they're all available. Again, in playoff times, that tends to be the case. And they could be a pain in the butt for a team to play against for sure. So I like AJs, even though they're last.
Yeah,
even though they're
among
last,
those teams.
if they had body issues. I know one time they had, a lot can happen, but they can be very deadly. They have won before at this level, so we can never discount them for sure.
And then a quick few words about the Lads and Shockers.
Well, the Shockers were playing Trailer Park Boys tonight. I didn't really get a chance to glimpse at the score, but it seemed very balanced. Shockers are young, fast. Their Achilles heel is a scoring touch. They just don't. They have close to the second lowest goals in the league, and that's going to cost you. If you can't score, it's just not enough. And that's where I really think they're going to be hurt. And they gave a lot of goals up against. So you're really in compromised position there. Young, fast, continuing to improve. Dan Smith, the captain, the goalie, is doing a great job in that regard. I would love to see them make a run. I think it'd be very good for that team for future considerations, to do well in this level because they are against some very good teams. But their youth and just lack of scoring a bit, it may cost them, unfortunately. Lads, a very, very good team. Their goals against epitomizes what this team's all about. They're shut down hockey. A lot of runners. It's really up to Chris Clément and Drew Laurie and Wade Taylor to bring it for these teams. And if they do, they could be very effective. But they're not going to score a lot of goals, but they're not going to give up a lot. That is for sure.
That's what I can tell just from looking at their goals for, goals against. I mean, it's boring.
Exactly.
It's a boring team, but you know what? It's effective, and in the playoffs, like we were talking about before, I still think that game-breaking ability will always take you further. But at the same time, you can get a lot of mileage out of playing that kind of defensive, hermetic type of game.
You're 100% right. I think they have Christopher Forge on their team too. If they have him on defense, he's just a monster. But Chris Clément, he was here been on the show before. Talked about this league the last time. Very modest guy, but we all know he's one of the most organized and intelligent captains in the league. He's coming off a championship in the summer with the same group of guys effectively. If he will manage his bench, he will manage his team in order to give himself the best chance at winning. So you can never discount Chris, but that's why anything can happen in the game.
All right, well let's go get into it here for the playoffs. Let's see, what are your predictions? Who do you think is going to land where again? I don't think
Bruce Moose won't make it.
Okay, to the finals. It's because they're playing in their own tournament now.
Exactly.
Spruce
exactly.
Moose alone
by themselves.
Yes, they defeat no one and make it to the finals. Yes, exactly. All right, so of those 5 teams, Celeritz, Trailer Park Boys, the Lads, Shockers, AJs, who do you see in the finals? I mean, again, obviously, who plays who and all that is up in the air. So we can't really predict anything on that at this stage. But at the same time, going by your general feel.
Probably can't happen, unfortunately, the way it says now. But I would have loved to have seen Trailer Park the Lads. I think that would have been a very, very good battle. But based on what I see here,
it's looking likely like they'll face each other.
Yeah. So given that, it's going to be Celeritz. It's going to be them. If they continue the way they've been playing all season, it's no doubt. I would love to see the Lads upset Trailer Park Boys. I think it would be great to see a Trailer Park Boys Celeritz matchup, as I said before. I think
especially you consider them the better team. So it's interesting that you're not even predicting them for the finals.
Well, I think they got unlucky that they may have to play the Lads. That would be a really, really unlucky matchup for them because if any team can beat them, I think with a higher degree of confidence than the Celeritz, it would be the Lads.
Okay,
so that's why I think, the Lads are the underdogs in that case, and that is a very, very precarious position for anybody to underestimate their opponent.
So is that your prediction then?
I would say it could be a Celeritz the Lads final.
Okay, so if that is the final, then
yes.
Okay, how's it going?
If the Lads make the finals, I think whoever wins between Trailer Park Boys and the Lads is going to beat Celeritz.
All right, so you're predicting upset city. Maybe not if it's Trailer Park Boys.
Not Trailer Park Boys, but I have a deep respect for Celeritz. This is not a knock on them. I just think they may have some weaknesses that can be exploited. I mean, if they eliminate those in whatever means necessary, then Celeritz are a heavy favorite. But I think the Lads and Trailer Park Boys have been here before. Celeritz haven't been in the finals at this level. That they may find themselves a bit surprised to see. Oh, I've been playing this level all season. Now it's here. And are they going to be able to adjust? And I think you mentioned this one of a podcast. A team's ability to adapt is almost the biggest contributing factor to success of all.
In this league, that halftime adjustment is the game as far as I'm concerned. So many teams I've been on have not done that and gotten smoked as a result.
Exactly.
So it's
one of the benchmarks I'm using to make this assessment, so guys are going, where does Sean coming from? Is when I played with Spruce Moose, we played against Celeritz and we lost 3-2. We never were that close against Lads and Trailer Park Boys. It wasn't even, what I mean? So like that just to me shows.
So you're comparing based on your team's suctitude.
Yes, exactly.
That's how you're ranking these 3 teams.
Exactly. Now last time the Celeritz took it to us, but the fact that we even came close one time is like,
these guys aren't that good.
There's a potential there. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you mean. So go out on a limb here. Trailer Park Boys or Lads?
I'm gonna go say Lads, man. I'm gonna say Lads have an ability. Really, I like their goals against. That's really the sneaky thing for me here. You know, even though Trailer Park Boys have it as well, I find the Lads as a team defensively bring a lot more to the table. They may surprise me in the first round being knocked out, but if they do win, they're winning it all.
Well, look, we all have our teams in the NBHL. My team, the team I play on, Los Pollos Hermanos, suck.
Yeah,
so,
you're like me.
So my team, you know what? It's kind of, I'm kind of glad some of the guys who play, like Chris, at least has a team that's in playoff contention, because otherwise I'd say there's a curse associated to working on this. Yeah. We're not only are we done, we're way out.
Yeah, exactly.
But so then I'm going as the media team. I'm rooting for Chris and the lads. So that's if I have to pick somebody, that's who I'll pick. Knowing absolutely nothing. All right. So then, if that's the case, who is your MVP? For them to win, who has to be the thing?
Wade Taylor has to bring what he can bring to the game for the lads to win this league. He's got to be the guy who's first guy back on the back check and leading the charge offensively. And if he's doing that, then they've
got a good chance.
Yeah.
And let's say it does become Selleritz. Who would be the MVP in that case?
I'm going to go Jean-Philippe Derry. This guy, he's so good. He's a phenomenal player. I really think he's the guy that elevates this team to a level and why they can play B moving forward. He's just that good.
All right. Final thoughts on the D League before we call it a night.
I mean, it really is a tale of the top 5 teams. I know Spruce Moose, we had a terrible time roster-wise this year. It was a real challenge. But, as we discussed, a lot of these teams are very different in what they bring. And that's why this league, more so than the B League, is going to be to see how teams exploit blatant weaknesses on the other teams while mitigating their own, and that gameplay of managing bench, managing lines, managing matchups.
Some guys are willing to do it, some aren't. Some say that these are my boys. It is what it is, and I'm not changing anything. Honestly, I have a lot of respect for that.
Yes.
But that might prevent you from getting further.
And that's and when it comes down, and so that's going to be an interesting dynamic of this playoffs. And one of the things I find is do guys recognize themselves? The self-awareness of what you can.
It's important. It's important. I do not play on the power play.
Me neither.
I suck at it. I can't shoot. If I do shoot, it doesn't hit the net. If it does hit the net, it's rolling to the goalie. So that's why I do not play the power play.
It's a long-standing joke. And every time there's a power play, I'm on the bench. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But if guys are stubborn and like, no, I want a chance to score. Great. Regular season, go for it.
Yeah.
Playoff time, it's a 1-1 game. You got to get off. You got to put on the guy who's going to make a difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And the team's willing to do that or call the guys off, they have the better chance to win versus the guys who are like, okay, fine, it's Darren's turn, let him have some fun. You know what I mean? Like
it's never Darren's turn. Darren will be captaining a team next season, and it will not be Darren's turn. It will still not be Darren's turn. All right, so that's pretty much it for B and D. Last time we did these leagues, we also threw in F, but we're gonna, we're
gonna wait for Jeff. Hopefully.
We're gonna wait for Jeff, and we're gonna probably do an A M F.
Yeah, exactly. Combination.
So the combination there. So we'll see as that goes. This is it for B and D, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
I'm sure Sean can say the same, except it hasn't been a pleasure because his team sucked.
Both leagues. It's been tough.
Tough year. But at least you get to focus on the media aspect and the commissioning aspect as well.
Well,
which are pretty important as well.
That's part of it.
It's kind of a big deal. Beyond that, it's been a blast, guys. Good luck rest of the way to the 10 teams that are still alive. While one of them is technically still alive in the B, but will not be for much longer. It's been a blast.
Yeah, one thing is registration for winter.
Oh, let's get into it. Yeah,
is now open. It just opened. If teams are all figuring out their stuff. Write to us sooner than later.
Fills up quick.
It fills up really quick, guys. I know we always say that, and this is not a marketing tactic. It's the actual truth. We have one arena 5-on-5, one arena 4-on-4. So if you are interested, reach out to me or Norm or Eric as soon as possible. As well as if you are an individual, say your team's not coming back, but you still want to play. We have a ton of options for guys. Looking for players. I won't, but I know a bunch of teams looking for players.
I'll pull the Seabass there in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy right
here. I would like to help everyone out, guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's my pleasure. It's what I love to do. This is the most fun time of the year for me. I know it's playoffs and registration. It's like Christmas and Halloween all together. It's candy and presents. It's like the best of both worlds.
Sounds interesting.
It shows.
No, great point on the people people who are looking to play, look, we all are always looking to play, and sometimes it's hard to find teams dissolve, guys can't make it, whatever, and you might not know everybody, but it's kind of what I love about this league, it's a big community, right? A lot of guys know other guys through one way, left, right, or center, and so there's always openings. Yeah, as Sean mentioned, I might be dipping into a few of those, so if you want to play on this team, by all means.
You sold it with the last,
but it's a really fun way to look,
meet new guys,
to get it done,
and play,
and plus, again, long term, like, so all of us have teams that, like, okay, summer team is my serious team, and then in the winter I do it just to stay in shape and stuff like that. But you know what, your summer team might need an extra guy, and that extra guy you might meet them by playing in a winter team. So there's some team building that goes on in this stuff too. So don't overlook it if that's what you're thinking. All right, B, D, good luck the rest of the way. And we might be doing something special for the finals. We're not entirely sure. We don't know which leagues it'll be either. But if that's the case, then we'll see you then. But if not, good luck. That's it from us here at the third period. I am your host, Darren Basmajan at MBHL Media. That is my analyst and commish and registrar at this point. Sean Guerrero at MBHL_official. We appreciate you watching. We will be back next week. But until then...
Good night, NBHL.
He's got it. What a pro. He's in playoff form.
I know. I'm ready to go.
Playoff form. And now he has to awkwardly walk to the computer and turn it off because there's only two of us now. Yeah. And then we'll turn the camera.